Subscribe to my sister's channel. She will also voice her favorite plots. Let's give her a big asset. When the soul is shot through and it seems that there is no strength to endure, let's get up from our knees, my dear, let's learn to look into the eyes of fate. Naruto is 4 years old when she is moved from an orphanage to a separate apartment. The third Hokage takes the girl into a small, shabby room and says that now she will live here. Alone? The child cannot believe that she is being left alone with the adult world. Yes, Sarutobi's brown eyes stare relentlessly, leaving no chance. And, what am I going to eat? It's scary. Naruto is very scared. You'll learn how to cook. You will be given a monthly allowance. Spend it wisely. Why are you doing this to me? The question remains unanswered, and the old man leaves the apartment. There were many children of my age in the orphanage. After the attack of the nine-tailed demon fox 4 years ago, orphans in the village ceased to be a rarity. Although, probably, it happened even earlier, during the Third Shinobi War. I don't know, we were rarely told stories about those times. I was never liked there. I know that employees are not obliged to show warm feelings to their wards, but, nevertheless, the rest of the children got much more attention and affection than me. I've never been patted on the head. No one has ever stood up for me when the older children took away toys or pushed. I have always been refused requests to read a fairy tale or help assemble a picture from colored pieces. My drawings were never saved, they were ruthlessly compressed and immediately thrown away. Even at the age of 4, I realized that the teachers did not like me. It offended me, because I didn't give any reasons for such treatment. She didn't break anything, didn't fight, didn't make noise, followed all the instructions of adults. I hoped that if I was obedient, the attitude of the staff towards me would change. And, like all orphanages, I dreamed that I would be taken into the family. Lying in the evenings under a thin blanket on a creaky bed, I imagined my parents coming for me. It's as if they didn't die, but were just badly injured, but now they've completely recovered and finally came back for me. I didn't know anything about them, except that they died during a demon attack, and were strong shinobi. They didn't even tell me their names, although the rest of the children, for the most part, knew which family they belonged to. Only the surname is Uzumaki. When the third Hokage came for me, I was happy. It seemed to me that I was finally adopted, and now my life will get better. All the way to my new home, Hokage was silent, and I imagined life with a new family, joint breakfasts and dinners, games with dad, helping mom with cleaning, walks and holidays. Reality, in the form of a lonely apartment with a minimum of furniture and peeling paint on the walls, shattered my dreams to smithereens. The realization that I was just thrown out, rolled in a wave and knocked me off my feet. The Hokage's words barely reached me, piercing the cotton wool that had blocked my ears with steel claws. Loneliness flooded my world. Naruto is 6 years old when she tries to break the seal from the demon cage locked in it. The fox, at the same time, actively resists, but in no way can stop the process from the inside. When the village is only moments away from being destroyed by an enraged demon who has lost his first friend, Naruto stops Yondaime Hokage. He has yellow hair, blue eyes and a soft smile, and Naruto screams at him, choking with despair and pain. And Minato Namikaze hugs her only child, cradles her in a warm embrace and does not understand why the hell he and Kushina sacrificed their lives and Naruto's happiness for the sake of the evil and limited inhabitants of what seemed to be such a native village. He can't stay with Naruto, he can't protect her from all the pain that awaits her on the path of life. And then the fourth Hokage spends the remnants of his chakra to teach his daughter 2 of his strongest techniques, Rasengan and the Thunder God technique. The order of training for the first technique, the formula of a special tattoo for the second, the method of its application, the establishment of marks on kunai, the order and meaning of hand seals. This knowledge is embedded in Naruto's memory, soldered with a red-hot iron into the brain so that neither forget nor confuse. Naruto does not know how to use the elemental chakra, she does not know how to use the ordinary one, but this does not mean that she cannot start training now that I really learned how to spend money wisely. It was impossible to live without a mind on those miserable pennies that the village leadership gave me. I didn't have to learn to cook, anyway. There wasn't enough money for anything except custard noodles and a carton of milk for a week. It was necessary to save money to pay for the apartment and allocate a little money for new clothes. No toys, a primer from books, no sweets. Twice a week a man in a cat mask came and taught me to read and write. ANBU, a special unit of the village, the elite among the ninja. Every 2 months, the Hokage himself showed up and inspected my progress. Why would it be such an honor, and even for me alone? As far as I know, the other orphans had simpler teachers and examiners. There is no answer. It was easy to study, there was nothing else to do anyway, and after 6 months the Anbushnik stopped coming. I tried to go outside only if absolutely necessary. The inhabitants of Konoha exuded an almost palpable hatred towards me. All attempts to find out the reasons for such an attitude ran into a wall of indifference or an outburst of rage. Demon! The demon! Go away, monster! Screams rang in my ears, causing angry tears and despair. Constant poking, kicking, spitting when trying to get closer, left bright purple bruises all over the body and a metallic taste in the mouth. The children saw their parents' attitude towards me and adopted it. But children are cruel, much angrier than adults. They threw stones, chased around the village, and if the chase was successful, they were beaten. Not everyone did this, some residents were frankly afraid of me, and accustomed their offspring to this. Spit. I had enough aggressive-minded people to bother about the causes of fear. I learned to move around the streets unnoticed, shopping trips were still necessary. Sometimes I allowed myself to go to the playground, which instantly emptied when I appeared. I just wanted to swing on the swing and slide down the slide a couple of times, but restless parents saw me as a monster about to kidnap and devour their children. And I decided for myself that I would definitely become a Hokage, and I would make all these people recognize me. Whatever it costs me, that day didn't stand out in any way, but I remembered it for the rest of my life. Running away from the crowd of my fans, I ran into the training ground, where a team of young shinobi was training at that moment. I don't know what kind of technique I fell under the influence of these half-wits, but it was enough for me. Consciousness faded and I found myself in a long gloomy corridor lit by several faintly flickering bulbs. The water squelched under my feet, it was cold, but, for some reason, it wasn't scary at all. Walking along the long corridor ahead, I looked into all the branches, but there was only darkness waiting for me. The corridor ended in a huge hall, blocked by a cage. There was someone there, but because of the scarcity of lighting, it was impossible to make out who exactly. All I saw were eyes filled with malice. "You're early," the creature rumbled. "Who are you?" My voice didn't tremble. It was curious. "You don't know me, bug," the voice exuded hatred, "it's dark." "I don't see you." The hall flashed with thousands of lights and Kyubi no Yoko appeared in front of me, in all its glory. The huge fox was lying on his stomach, his muzzle close to the bars of the cage. 9 tails were beating furiously against the walls, the muzzle stretched out in a creepy grin, revealing a row of sharp, snow-white teeth. I've seen the 9-tailed one in the picture before, but I never thought he was like that. "You are very beautiful, Kubi-sama. I am Naruto Uzumaki. What's your name?" "Cheeky girl, you are." "What? I'm sorry. What did you just say?" "I said that you are very beautiful." "What's your name?" You are the first Jinchuriki who asked for my name. Kurama. My name is Kurama. Kurama, will you be my first friend? Of course, he refused me, but now, every night before going to bed, I came to him that he was big, red and fluffy, and I adored the color orange. He was sarcastic, insulted me, kicked me out, but he talked. Let through his teeth, narrowing his huge, yellow eyes in contempt, but he answered my questions. Kurama told me who Jinchuriki and Biju are. I explained why they hate and fear me. We didn't talk about who sealed it, but the fox showed me the seal and said that if I tore it off, I would be destroyed as a person, and he would break out. To preserve both Jinchuriki's identity and Biju's, we needed a key that we didn't have. Kurama has never asked me to break the seal, motivating it by the fact that then, sooner or later, he will be sealed again, and it's not a fact that the new Jinchuriki will be better. I didn't believe his words and said that he just liked me. He turned away from me, but listened to how my day went and his sensitive ears twitched slightly, betraying interest in my words. I didn't need more than that. I called him a friend, and he just snorted irritably and defiantly tried to throw off his tail. If I wanted to, I threw it off a long time ago. And he let me touch him. After I heard that I can't touch others, Kurama taught me. He had no idea about shinobi training, not considering it necessary to memorize unnecessary information for himself, but he was well versed in the personal aspects of human life. All his life, he watched people through the eyes of his Jinchuriki and memorized their strengths and weaknesses in order to use this knowledge later. Explaining the ways of interacting with other people, the fox added bright spots to my character in the form of perseverance, arrogance and perseverance in achieving my goal. He brought to me the simple truth, until you ask, you won't get anything, and taught me how to ask correctly. That's how paints and pencils first appeared in my house. On one of the rare visits of the third Hokage, I finally decided. Buy me some paint. My voice was breaking with excitement. What? I'm sorry, Hokage was surprised. I've never asked you for anything. But I can't save up myself, I honestly tried. I really like to draw. Please, his eyes filled with moisture, the old man chuckled and left, and the next day I found on the table a large set of colored pencils, watercolor paints and a stack of white, expensive paper. Paper appeared every month now, and the paints and pencils that had run out were replaced with new ones. The walls of my apartment were filled with drawings from which a toothy sun with 9 rays smiled at a small child. I had the realization that it was unwise to draw a fox in his true form. There was no loneliness in my house anymore. The sun settled here. After hearing my dream of wanting to become a Hokage, Kurama laughed and fidgeted for a long time, and then sent me to the library, saying that the Hokage could not become a stupid ninja. Of course, they wouldn't have given me any books about shinobi techniques, because I wasn't even a student of the academy, but about history, geography and adventures, as much as you want. From the pages of thick, dusty books, an amazing world opened up to me, in which I was to live, and a smiling old librarian, for some reason, who did not dislike and fear me at all, explained incomprehensible moments. Sometimes a cheerful voice sounded in my head, agreeing or, conversely, violently refuting the old man's words. I have another outlet. I don't know why I was so happy, but they began to give me monthly coupons for visiting a small cafe located near my house. The owner of Ichiraka Ramen, the cook Tucci, and his daughter I8, treated me with sincere warmth. They were happy when I came, and worried if I was gone for a long time. They didn't mind that they lost customers during my visit, and they always smiled at me. And sometimes even treated to an additional, free portion. I have never eaten anything tastier than their ramen in my life, which I informed the hospitable hosts about every time. New drawings were added to the walls of my room, depicting books, librarian glasses, and a roadside cafe. Thanks to the food stamps, I was finally able to save up for the first cake in my life. I planned to celebrate my 6th birthday on a grand scale and specially drew a beautiful poster congratulating me. The long-awaited sweetness was languishing in the refrigerator, the apartment was shining clean, Kurama was asleep, and I decided to go to the store for tea. I didn't want to spoil my holiday with sour milk. Why everything went to pieces on this particular day, I do not know. It would seem that after so many months of communication with the nine-tailed, I should have acquired immunity to ridicule and insults, but here is the phrase of some guy brat. Surely she is the daughter of a whore and some drunkard, and not at all brave shinobi, addressed to his fat companion, insulted me to the depths of my soul. Anger rolled over instantly, sweeping away self-control to hell, and I ran into the offender with fists and shouts of, "Take your words back, unshaven creature." There is practically no chance for a small child against an adult man, which was clearly demonstrated to me. My ribs ached, my arm was broken in at least 2 places, and hot, red liquid was running down my face. And the people gathered around during the brawl laughed and pointed at me, encouraging the man with shouts of, "It serves her right. Punch the bitch for my dad. She is not worthy to live." Swallowing bitter tears and cradling my broken arm, I moved towards the house, trying to get the insults of the crowd out of my head. Resentment burned out my insides and did not want to fit in. The apartment door was open. I never forgot to close it before leaving. After going inside, I realized that something was breaking inside me. Something very important that makes up my essence, something on which my life was built. Everything was turned upside down. The drawings were torn from the walls and torn, the walls were smeared with my cake and painted with obscene words, the mattress smelled of urine, and on top of the festive poster was the touching phrase, "It would be better if you were not born." The light faded before my eyes, and I found myself in a familiar, so familiar corridor. A phrase I heard many months ago suddenly popped into my head, "By breaking the seal, you will destroy your identity. Even I can't prevent it. If that happens, I will destroy this whole damn village, along with all the inhabitants." To date, there is not a single shinobi in it who could stop me. So let it be so. I can't take it anymore. Forgive me, Kurama, if you can. I give up. The fox wakes up in the cage and looks at me in surprise. Silently I approach the cage and touch the seal. My friend starts to worry, he shouts something at me, but I can't hear it anymore. The blood is buzzing in my temples, and my gaze freezes at one point. I grab the tip of the seal, a sharp flash. A tall man in a white cloak appears in front of me, surrounded by a golden glow. "Minato, stop her." The fox is rushing around in the cage, trying to stick his tail between the bars and push me away from the seal. He is in a panic trying to figure out what happened to me in a few hours of his sleep. The vertical pupils are dilated with horror. The man pushes me away and restores the seal. I know him, I see this face every day, on Mount Hokage. "Yondaime? What are you doing here?" "Hello, Naruto. I've come to stop you." "How do you know my name?" "I gave it to you myself, honey. I am your father." A kaleidoscope of emotions turns me into a whirlpool of hysteria. I'm yelling at him. I'm screaming about all the pain that happened in my short life, that he had no right to do this to me, about tears and torn drawings. And he hugs me, for the first time in his life, and whispers, "Forgive me, daughter." "Dad." I reach for the cage, where the wary Kurama is frozen, trying not to break contact with his father. He will obey me, obediently overcoming the barrier of bars, although clearly surprised. The fox sighs with relief and wraps us in a cocoon of his tails. The pain subsides. There remains only a quiet, bitter tenderness. When I regain consciousness, it's already getting dark outside the window. Now I know the whole story to the end. I know that I was expected and loved. My father dreamed that I would be revered as a heroine. I will fulfill his dream, even if it takes time. I know how to forgive, and all these people who hate and despise me will understand how wrong they are. I can prove it to everyone. Naruto, are you home? Why aren't you closing up? I'm sitting on the floor, realizing that I won't be able to get up myself today. The third Hokage enters the apartment, and for the first time I see his face distorted with rage. A few minutes later, an ANBU fighter is already picking me up and taking me to the hospital. The Hokage stays in my apartment. I can finally sleep. Naruto is 8 years old when she paints the faces of the rulers of the village on Mount Hokage. Red stripes, yellow circles and green lightning enliven the harsh faces, making the legendary ninja more human. Laughing loudly, the girl rushes across the roofs of Konoha, trying to escape from the persistent teacher chasing her. It was raining recently and the smell of ozone and cherry blossoms is in the air. Spring is intoxicating and it seems to Naruto that she is experiencing feelings of freedom and happiness for the first time. These feelings stupefy the head, make you breathe deeply and fall in love with life again. Kurama shouts triumphantly in Naruto's chest, having fulfilled a long-desired, albeit a little childish, dream. The villagers angrily shake their fists after the prankster, and then look at the mountain and smile. I was discharged from the hospital after 3 days. Jinchuriki's wounds heal quickly, even if they are fractures. Kurama didn't talk to me, angry for his fright, but he didn't swear openly either. He felt sorry for me. The conversation with my father was spinning in my memory, warming my soul, giving an incentive to live on. The memories of the cruelty of the villagers have not gone away, but they have ceased to cause that storm of emotions. It seemed like my pain had burned to the ground and covered them with a fluffy blanket of ashes. I asked the Hokage who came to visit me again for the names of my parents. I know them, but I want to hear it personally from Sarutobi. He is silent. He says that the decision to hide them was made by the Council of Elders, and he cannot circumvent the order. He hides his eyes, which reflect shame. Why do the elders make such decisions about an ordinary orphan? Silence. Be silent, old man. Your guilt will remain with you until the end. I don't think the villagers would treat me the same way if they knew I was the daughter of the fourth Hokage, the hero who saved them all. I don't want to go home, but there's nowhere to go. Fears turn out to be in vain. Someone has made major repairs in the apartment during my absence. There is a strong lock on the door and a special sign, under the protection of the ANBU. Just like that, simple and tasteful, no one else will come here. Fresh pale blue wallpaper pleases the eye, the ceiling is whitewashed, the bed and wardrobe are brand new. My things are washed and neatly folded. A new sink is installed in the kitchen, instead of the old one, rusty and always leaking. The refrigerator hums affably, delighting with its contents, real homemade soup, chicken with potatoes and cake. Instead of the deceased, after taking a shower, I continue to explore the apartment. There was no such big box in the corner of the bedroom before. Inside there are kunai laid out in a row. But the box is too big, there is clearly something else there. I remove the top layer and rub my eyes in disbelief. The whole bottom of the box is filled with my father's trident kunai. There are at least 50 of them. Why? Why the hell did the third one decide to give them to me? Because the secret of the names of the parents is still valid. No matter. I don't care about the reasons. Thank you, old Hokage, you have no idea what a gift you made for me. For that, I'm ready to forgive you anything. Maybe he hoped to circumvent the elders' ban in this way? Did you think I could guess for myself? It doesn't matter. I can start training, time accelerates its course, and it seems that I will never have time to catch up with it. My life is becoming like a river with an incredibly fast current. In the morning, breakfast, cleaning the apartment, and then, outside, to study, to study, to study. Running around the village, push-ups, practicing blows on a log. After lunch, throwing kunai. First the usual ones, then dads. They have different balancing, weight, speed. If the first type is designed to hit the enemy, then the second is to reach him as quickly as possible. To cling to something, to give a point of direction, the damage done does not matter. You need a different grip of the handle, swing, force of the throw. No one explains this difference, you have to get to everything yourself. The shinobi who see me at the training grounds talk quietly to each other, and more often I hear approval in their speech. I smile at them and shout loudly, I will become the greatest Hokage and surpass my predecessors. And I see answering smiles. A year of continuous training gives results. My record is 6 hits out of 10 with ordinary kunai and 8 out of 10 with other, most important ones. To cope with the last part of my daily exercises, I go deeper into the forest. I don't need witnesses, this knowledge belongs only to me. Manual seals. I can't pass the chakra through my palms, I can't distinguish the elements, but it's not necessary yet. Snake, wolf, monkey, raven, toad, hands ache from any careless movement, hands shake, fingers refuse to obey. Acute pain is felt by every cell of the exhausted body, sweat floods the eyes. I, in response, just clench my teeth, and, whispering to myself the cherished, I will never give up, I continue training. All these skills should be developed at the level of my instincts. That's enough, Kurama's whisper in my head means it's time to go home. My personal demon carefully monitors the condition of the body so that the next day I can continue to improve myself again. Before going to bed, shower, dinner. You can relax and lie around with some book. The Tale of the Inflexible Ninja, by a certain Jiraiya. The book was recommended by the librarian and I have been reading it for months, enthusiastically imagining myself in the place of the main character, ironically being my namesake. Then I will lift this curse. If peace is possible, then I will achieve it. Good words, the right ones. You need to remember. I tried to take other books by this author to read, but for some reason they have the stamp 18+, first day at the academy. The sun is shining outside, and proud parents are escorting their children to school, exchanging greetings on the go. Sitting on the swing opposite the entrance, I furtively examine my new classmates and try to work out a line of behavior towards them. Kurama says that I have 2 ways, I can become a cheerful fool or I can remain myself. The first option will brand me a sign of a narrow-minded loser, the second will not change the attitude of people towards me. After all, communication with a demon cannot but leave an imprint on my personality, and the second path will lead me further along the road of fear and alienation. Fools are not dangerous. They may be despised, but they are not worthy of hatred. I've had my fill of aggression, anger, and human cruelty. Thanks, but I don't need any more. I will be able to achieve my dream from the position of a dumbass. Jumping up from the swing, I shout loudly, "Welcome your future Hokage," and smile. The crowd buzzes with displeasure and lets me through the doors of the academy. Studying at the academy is not difficult. The brain absorbs knowledge like a sponge, the body is sufficiently trained to perform the tasks assigned to it. Sensei Irika teaches us to feel the chakra flows in ourselves and control them by performing simple techniques like substitution. I've been dreaming about this knowledge for so long that I spend all my time training. My chakra volume is noticeably higher than that of ordinary shinobi, so it is much more difficult for me to complete tasks. The teacher thinks I'm just messing around. He doesn't like me, and Kurama says it's obviously personal. Most likely, his family was injured in the fox attack, and he identifies me with the cause of his loss. I understand Sensei, because I also lost people dear to me then, but his ostentatious indifference still hurts me. Month after month passes, and people stop shying away from me. I make them laugh and embarrass them, fool around and try to become an important part of their lives. Smiling, smiling, smiling. No matter how difficult it is for me, no matter how tired I am, an eternal smile on my face is my business card, my pass into their hearts. The teacher's gaze warms, he no longer ignores me. My class is full of bright, amazing kids. They play, quarrel, make up and really enjoy every day. They accept me, albeit in the form of a permanent buffoon for the class, and share their warmth with me. Each of them has something important that cannot be included in the framework of knowledge and skills. I guess it's the carelessness and lightness of being, and I'm struggling to learn from them to be a child. At least a little. It's spring outside, the smell of fresh flowers fills the whole room and takes the thoughts of classmates away from the academy building. Pink-haired Sakura chirps with her bosom friend Ino. They have known each other for a long time, since elementary school, and I think they understand each other perfectly. Both girls periodically cast interested glances at the young representative of the Uchiha, Sasuke clan. The boy himself is sullen and focused on the lesson. They say that he is haunted by the fame of his older brother, who graduated from the academy at the age of 7. Sasuke is already 8, and he can't catch up with the time either. Lazy Shikamaru is napping on his desk, and most likely sees clouds in his dream. He loves silence, complaining about his mother and the word problematic, but he could probably graduate from the academy before all of us. The noisy Kiba shares his plans for the evening with the silent Shino, at the same time trying to calm the raging puppy. The puppy wants to go outside, lie in the grass and chase butterflies, and not sit in a locked room at all. The good-natured Cheiji finishes the second package of his favorite chips and seriously tries on the third. The cheeks of the black-haired Hinata are colored with a gentle blush when the teacher asks her a question. This morning I made a unique find. Passing by the Hokage residence, I accidentally saw a small jar of ink and several sheets soaked in chakra. These trinkets, resembling ordinary stationery, are worth a fortune. Most likely, they were dropped by shinobi working in the building, and now these things are safely hidden in my pocket. With all my soul I longed to possess them. I saved money for the purchase, and every evening I scrupulously counted them. An ordinary small jar contained a special paint with which I could put the seal of the Thunder God on my body. If, of course, it is useful. My hands are shaking when I take out the first piece of paper and hide it under the desk. I can find out my element right now. I pinch the corner in my hand, close my eyes tightly and mentally skip the first impulse. Without opening my eyes, I feel that the leaf is being torn in half. Wind. By force of will, I drive the disappointment deep and try to send a second impulse, different from the first, to the next leaflet. Exhale, open my eyes. A crumpled piece of paper means that my dreams will come true. I will master my father's technique. I will be able to become a worthy successor to him. The mood rises to an incredible level, and wings seem to grow behind your back. The gray walls of the academy are pressing on me. On this amazing day I want to share my happiness with all the residents of Konoha. I know where the painting crew keeps their tools, and Kurama, who rejoices in my triumph, knows how to use them. Replacement technique, and I leave the stuffy classroom. Sensei Irika finally caught up with me, and the Hokage had to wash their faces. But then he took me to Ichiraku, paid for the entire order, and said that in the future I could become a first-class kunoichi. Thank you, Sensei, for believing in me. I won't let you down. Naruto is 10 years old when she meets Itachi. The black-eyed guy looks with surprise at the girl standing in front of him, a black and orange boy's suit, long golden hair reaching to the waist, blue eyes with a naive look, and symmetrical scars on the cheeks resembling a mustache. The Jinchuriki of the strongest of the tailed demons hands him an open thermos, from which jasmine tea smells delicious, and smiles. Itachi has been recognized as a genius for many years. For 2 years he has been successfully balancing in clan politics, trying, if not to convince his father, then at least to delay the moment of the destruction of his own family, but he does not understand Naruto. He doesn't understand why she comes to the training ground every day during his training, why she waits for him at the Konoha gate when he returns from missions, why she takes jasmine tea with her if she doesn't like him. She does not bother him with conversations, does not ask for training, unlike her younger brother, does not climb into the soul. After the suicide of his best friend, Itachi does not let anyone into his life. Naruto is no exception, but when she does not appear at the training ground during the week at the usual time, Itachi becomes uncomfortable. When Sasuke is happy at dinner that an annoying classmate has been sick for a week and is sitting at home, he feels a bitter taste in his mouth. Itachi doesn't know why the hell he's dragging himself into Naruto's apartment at night, carrying a bag of oranges with him. She's just a kid, they're not even friends, and she may well be asleep already. All the way he's trying to sort himself out, trying to figure out what Naruto means to him. But when the girl opens the door, wrapped in a terry robe, and smiles at him, Itachi throws all stupid thoughts aside. What difference does it make who they are to each other if Itachi is warm next to her? Naruto is brewing jasmine tea. I've been learning to use the lightning element for 3 weeks, and I can't do a damn thing. I have already reread half of the library books collected on this topic, tried all the ways, but I could not squeeze out anything but a modest blue spark. I feel that I don't make mistakes, I do everything according to the instructions, and I don't understand the reasons for failure. I need a teacher. Of course, we can wait until we start going through the elements at the academy. Previously, the training ended at the age of 13, and did not include the elemental chakra, as well as many chakra-intensive techniques and medical jujutsu. However, after the attack of the Nine-Tailed on Konoha, the school curriculum was greatly changed, the training was extended for 2 years. Too many shinobi died that fateful night, the village was too defenseless before a sudden attack. The program was expanded, in addition to the elements, first aid courses were introduced, additional classes to increase the speed and reaction of students. The training became directed. Sensei now gave not only general knowledge, but also tried to identify the strengths of future shinobi and develop them in time. The elements began to be studied in the last grade, at the age of 14. I was 8, and I wanted everything at once. I even decided on the identity of the future teacher, Hatake Kakashi, a copy of Konoha's ninja. He had several advantages. Firstly, I knew exactly his element, somehow I accidentally saw a training session, and secondly, he was a student of the 4th Hokage. My father himself told me about it. It was he who taught Kakashi to command lightning, which means that I can learn almost from dad. But Hatake also had a tangible disadvantage, the lack of incentive for my training. I couldn't pay for these classes, he didn't receive any orders from his superiors, he didn't know me at all, and, therefore, he might not want to waste his time. Or just say that I'm still too young. But it was still worth the risk. Sensei Kakashi did not refuse. After listening to my chaotic speech in silence, the man walked with me to the training ground and began to look at my progress. Seeing the unsuccessful attempts, he gave some advice that was not in the books. After 2 hours, he stopped training, said that the usual training system would not work, and told me to come to him in a week. Kakashi evaded any explanations, saying that he would come up with something, but Kurama kindly explained that 2 types of chakras, mine and the fox, are unique by nature. There are only 9 such people in the whole world, and there is no single training approach for us. Everyone needs their own, specially selected program, which the brilliant copying ninja is now trying to frantically compose. A week later, things got off the ground, and the lightning began to gradually submit to me. Black seal symbols appeared on the wrist, securely hidden from prying eyes by a bright orange wristband. The day I saw him for the first time, it was raining. The cold wind whistled through the trees, the moisture was flowing down the back of my neck, and I was fascinated by his smooth movements and could not tear myself away. The guy was incredibly handsome, long black hair pulled back in a ponytail, a trained lean body, perfect facial features. He moved with impossible grace, reminding me of a cat in flexibility, and I thought I would never be able to repeat his movements. The stranger didn't seem to notice the rain at all, stubbornly continuing to train. Suddenly he was right in front of me, looked into my eyes, and 3 black tomos pulled me into his soul. There was a void. The gray, scorched desert froze my heart, reminding me of my own world. It was raining in his soul, too, and I desperately wanted to warm up my new god, give at least a little warmth and joy, make him happy. The return to reality was sudden, abrupt, and almost painful. The indifferent mask on his face could no longer deceive me, hide all the pain of this guy. Without saying a word, he got up and left, and with me there was only a slight smell of jasmine. I was called Naruto for a reason. The whirlpool of emotions was for me a constant, unchanging, desirable state. Kurama wondered how I didn't become a complete hysteric at the same time, and I just shrugged my shoulders. That was my essence. New feelings whirled me in a frenzied whirlwind. I started coming to this training ground every day and watching the guy train. Most often he was alone, but several times my classmate, Sasuke, was with him. So I guessed the identity of my new acquaintance, Itachi Uchiha, the genius of the clan, who awakened Sharingan at the age of 5, the youngest ANBU captain in the entire history of Konoha. Itachi, I rolled his name in my mouth like a caramel and enjoyed the remaining aftertaste. It was sweet, the sweetness of dango and the freshness of jasmine remained on the lips. I knew his favorite dishes, daily routine, training time. I missed him when he went on missions, and always tried to be the first to meet him at the gate on his return, feeling the approach of a person who suddenly became a family. Seeing Itachi was a necessity for me, he became my heir. Of course, he knew I was watching him. Once, having made up my mind, I offered him tea after training, which I now always carried with me in a thermos. I didn't like jasmine tea, but now I only bought it. It has become a tradition. Now, after exhausting exercises, he sat down next to me. I handed him a hot thermos lid full of fragrant drink, and we silently looked at the clouds. He never talks to me, but I know he has a quiet, slightly husky voice. He never tells me about his family, work, friends. He's sure he doesn't need anyone. The school knew about my mania, Sasuke couldn't help but share. Classmates laughed, called her a fool in love, said that such as me, nothing ever shines. They did not understand that my feeling for Itachi was not love, because love is something superficial, temporary and not deep. None of them knows what I really am. I've never been a dummy. And I do not know the meaning of the word impossible. On one of the quiet, calm evenings, I am in my subconscious and playing with the tales of Kurama. He waves me off lazily, hoping to take a nap, and I don't want to leave him. The sudden appearance of a toad right in front of the cage baffles both of us. Who are you? And how did you end up here? Surely my eyes resemble the size of saucers. Hello, Naruto Uzumaki. And you, Kyubi no Yoko, hello too. My name is Jaratora. I came to give you the key. The toad smiles, which looks rather ridiculous. Kurama is all picked up after these words. You came too early. Naruto's body is weak, she will not be able to pull the chakra out of me, and I will absorb it. The fox is unhappy, but I hear nervous notes in his voice. I know that Jinchuriki has not reached the right age yet, but there is no choice. We toads feel when our souls have to go to the great cycle of the Myabokuzen Valley, and my time has come. I am glad that you and Jinchuriki are friends. it will help to overcome the resistance of vectors. Maybe. No matter what, I can no longer keep the key in myself, as well as give it to someone else. If you don't open the cage now, it will disintegrate, destroying both you, Nine-Tailed, and your little girlfriend. I don't understand a damn thing about these explanations and turn to Kurama for help. The stupid toad decided to die incredibly at the wrong time. My friend gets angry, the tails start moving, we'll have to open the cage. Listen to me, Naruto, very carefully. When the gates open, you will have to grab my chakra, in any way possible, and pull it out to the end. I'll try to help you. Think good thoughts all the time. Pull with all your might, your life will depend on it. I can see that Kurama is scared, he is almost panicking and barely restrains himself. His fear becomes clear to me very, very soon. Simple manipulations and the doors swing wide open. There are no more restraining seals, and a terrifying volume of chakra covers my head. The red monster in the guise of my first friend is trying to devour me, burn out my soul, break my body. He exudes hatred, bloodlust, and a desire to kill. Knowing that these feelings have always been part of Kurama's power doesn't help me fight in any way. I grab his chakra right with my hands, try to pull out at least a part, but nothing happens. I try to shout to his consciousness, I remember all our communication, but he can't hear me now. I'm yelling at him. He promised to help. The body stitches flashes of pain, consciousness gradually fades. I'm too weak. Soft arms wrap around me and hold me on the edge of what seemed imminent death. Golden chains burst out from somewhere behind his back, piercing through the red haze before his eyes. Pull, Naruto, I'll help. I've only heard that voice once in my life, but I'll never confuse it with anyone else's. Mommy. We won. I have extensive blood loss, most of the internal organs are damaged, lacerations cover the entire body. I move around the apartment with difficulty, I can't eat, nightmares come in my sleep. It's always cold. I could go to the hospital, but how can I explain to the doctors where I was so injured? Kurama guiltily hides his head behind his tails and promises that he will cure me quickly. I don't blame him, burrow into the red fur, stroke his nose. I tell Sensei Irika, who came on the second day, that she caught a cold. Apparently, I look pathetic enough, and he gives me a week to recover. The 7th day of solitude is coming to an end. The wounds have healed and hardly bother. I'm not expecting anyone this evening, and the knock on the door surprises me a lot. Wrapping my robe more tightly around me, I unlock the lock. Itachi crumples on the threshold, clutching a bag of oranges, and I finally get warm. The smile itself appears on the lips. I let an uninvited, but so welcome, guest into the apartment and go to brew jasmine tea. Naruto is 12 years old when she leaves Konoha. Frozen on the border of the land of fire, the girl peers into the distance with her unusually blue eyes. The wind tugs at the unevenly cut strands of hair, a white cloak edged with red flames develops behind his back. Today, she personally destroyed everything that she had been trying to achieve for so long. I lost the honestly deserved respect of my comrades, I broke people's faith in myself. She does not regret anything, because the game was worth the candle, but a slight sadness involuntarily penetrates her heart. There, behind her, was her home, her dear people, her childhood. What lies ahead is not yet clear, but Naruto believes that he will be able to find his place in this vast world. The chase is already close, Naruto feels their approach, but does not move. She's not afraid. Just waiting for a slightly husky voice to say her name. We agreed with Kurama that I would not use his power unless absolutely necessary. It corrupts, gives a false sense of its own invincibility, prevents it from growing further. A person does not appreciate what has come to him without invested effort. The assessment of self-importance soars to the skies, but does not have a proper support that can hold in case of a fall. It is enough that the Uzumaki clan has always been famous for its huge supply of chakra and endurance. Now I know why I want to become stronger so persistently, why I study so hard. I have someone to protect. The realization of this fact does not come immediately and stuns me. People come into my life gradually, one by one, and remain there as bright images. The old Hokage. Tuchi and I-8. The old librarian. Sensei Iruka and Sensei Kakashi. Itachi. Other. I cherish them and want to protect them. I love my life. I have friends, a cozy home, an interesting occupation. I made friends with my classmates, and now we spend our free time together. Shikamaru and Cheiji, Ino and Sakura, Kiba, Hinata, periodically flash Shino and Sasuke. After school, the guys and I go to the training ground. Sometimes we compete with each other, sometimes we just play, tell funny stories, read books aloud. Itachi comes in the evenings. We sit down with him in the kitchen, settling down on a small corner sofa. He drinks tea and talks. He tells me about medicinal and poisonous plants, about distant countries he has already visited, about a dead friend. I hug my knees with my hands, listen to a quiet voice, and, closing my eyes, furtively examine his face, dark circles under his eyes, a hard crease at the lips, unnatural pallor. Itachi always looks tired and tense, but after half an hour of our conversation, his face relaxes. I don't think he allows himself to remove the mask of indifference in front of someone else. His dark eyes flicker faintly in the light of a dim bulb, and it seems to me that I am ready to look at him forever. I feel that he doesn't want to leave me and come home, but at exactly 11 o'clock he gets up and goes to the door. Closing my eyes before going to sleep, I remember his farewell smile. I can't cope with the cloning technique in any way. My chakra volume is too high, and thin, elegant lines are almost inaccessible to me. I am a fighter by orientation, powerful frontal attacks are my forte, and illusions require a completely different approach. I can change myself as much as I want. I even came up with one vulgar jutsu that works flawlessly on all sorts of perverts, like the third Hokage. But to inspire others that there is a copy of me standing next to me, which is not really there. The maximum I could squeeze out of myself was a pale, jelly-like creature that barely holds on to thin legs. The whole class laughed for a long time, and then went home. I continue to hang out at the school training ground and train. Sensei Iruka approaches unnoticed. Naruto? What are you doing here? It's getting late. If you give me a bandage to wear, I'll tell you, I mutter in response. I have been asking him for a long time to entrust me with the symbol of all shinobi, but Sensei is holding on and does not give in to persuasion. No, Naruto. This bandage must be earned. When you graduate from the academy and get your own, the teacher smiles and pats me on the head. Is there anything else I can help you with? I can't create a clone. I try my best, but in the end it turns out this, a clap, and another pale freak honored us with his presence. I don't even know what to advise you. Although, actually, it's against the rules, but you're my favorite student. Look carefully, Naruto, this is a Class B technique, it is much more expensive. I think you can handle it. Sensei's hands fold the seal. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. His clone appears next to the teacher. These clones are material, they can cause damage to opponents, act independently. All the knowledge and experience gained by the clone, after the cancellation of the action, is transferred to the original. The Jonins often use it for reconnaissance. However, it requires a huge reserve of strength to maintain itself. Try to apply it by investing as much chakra as possible. I take a deep breath, fold the seal. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. I don't think Sensei Iruka expected such a result. His bulging eyes confirm my guess, and hundreds of clones around are waving their hands and smiling at us. And it's not at all difficult to maintain it. My mother told me to avoid gambling. Damn loss, damn Kiba. I'll never play cards again. Get into the ANBU building and eavesdrop on some conversation, and then tell us, the guy is having fun at my expense, or go kiss Sasuke. It is impossible to get into the residence of the Special Forces, but you want to kiss a black-haired arrogant even less. In the end, well, what can Anbushniki do to me? If they catch you, they'll just beat you up and let you go. Chickened out? You can't wait. I never give up, this is my ninja way. And who pulled my tongue? I silently crawl along the narrow ventilation pipe and mentally scold myself. It's good that I'm so small. It's evening outside and the building is practically empty. Kurama hides my thoughts from the sensors, and blocks the channels of the chakra. I don't need safes, secret scrolls and weapon designs, the alarm shouldn't go off. I need a conversation, any conversation, even if it's about dinner and weekend plans. The pipe ends in a grate, a dead end. Carefully I crawl to the edge and look out. In front of me there is a view of a huge hall. In the center of the hall there is a desk, at which 3 people dressed in white clothes are sitting. Holy shit, Danzo and the advisors. In front of them, kneeling, stands one of the fighters, whose face is hidden by a mask. I pray to all the gods that I will not be noticed. These are not the people whose conversations are safe to eavesdrop on for life. A conspiracy. Upheaval. War. The terrible words hardly fit into my head. The Uchiha clan has been preparing a coup for 6 years, and Itachi must stop them. Well, why him? The words of the advisors are more like ordinary blackmail. They play on the feelings of an older brother who is trying to protect at least someone from his family. We will let Sasuke live if you follow the order. He knows nothing about your father's plans, and therefore is not dangerous to the village. Of course, we can find other performers, but then it will be impossible to guarantee your brother's safety. It is unlikely that they will watch who exactly is being killed. I'll do everything, Danzo-sama. You'll have to take care of Sasuke. Of course, Itachi. Have you figured out what you're going to tell him before you leave? I will say that I killed everyone in order to test my strength. I hope that hating me will make my brother become stronger. Good. And the last. We will be forced to declare you a Nukenin. I understand everything, Danzo-sama, the order must be executed tonight. I stagger home. Her head is buzzing with overflowing thoughts. I go into the apartment and take a photo of Itachi smiling. He gave it to me a few months ago. Liars. Cheaters. Freaks. They have no right to do that. Why the hell did the third one allow this? Anger covers, suffocates in its embrace. Kurama is silent. He has nothing to comfort me with. The decision comes suddenly. Calm down, Naruto, breathe. He's coming today anyway, he can't not come. I can't let him know that I know everything. We need to prepare. My friend shows up later than usual today. I can smell the faint smell of alcohol coming from him. The usual ritual, smile kitchen tea. Itachi is silent and looks at me with his mysterious gaze, as if trying to memorize every line. He takes another sip from the mug. Rain is drumming outside the window, thunder is rumbling. Nature cries for my beloved, burying his soul in advance. Bittersweet tenderness fills the silence of the room, stretches like thick jelly. He doesn't say anything, but I know that Itachi came to say goodbye today. Minutes are slipping through our fingers like sand, mercilessly counting down our time. He's so beautiful. So strong. One last sip. Will you wait for me a bit? I need to go to the bathroom, of course, Naruto. Go, the Uchiha must die. The verdict has been passed and is not subject to appeal. I take my father's kunai and make a sharp swing. Again, again, again. Golden curls silently fall into the sink. My hair will only get in the way. You now look like a small copy of Minato, only in the female version. Don't remove the front strands, it suits you all right, Kurama, the water murmurs softly while I finish the haircut. Why did you put him to sleep? The fox is interested. Uchiha must die, the words spoken out loud sound much heavier and weightier. This order was given by Itachi today. I heard. Do you want to save them? There is no point in saving those who have been diligently seeking their own death for so many years, then what do you want? I want to kill them myself. What? The demon laughs in my head, and then becomes extremely serious. You will not succeed. You can't cut out the whole clan by yourself. They'll just kill you. Then give me strength, Kurama. Are you sure this is necessary? My friend is not going to dissuade me. He knows me like a flake, and just clarifies. The answer is on the surface. Itachi shouldn't kill his family. Yes, there is no doubt, Itachi loves sweets, I can't stand him. Itachi is always cool and composed, I react to everything with a storm of emotions. Itachi loves his younger brother, I despise this arrogant upstart. Itachi loves Konoha, and is ready to sacrifice everything for the good of the village, even if it breaks his soul. I have two contradictory feelings about this place. But I love Itachi. And if, in order to save his soul, I have to kill all the representatives of the strongest Konoha clan today, then so be it. The death of at least 50 people for the illusion of a normal life of one, but the most native, in my opinion. This exchange is profitable and correct that I turn off the faucet and get out of the bathroom. Itachi is sleeping with his head on the table, and it seems to me peaceful for the first time. Yumihei, the herb of quiet sleep. It grows high in the mountains, costs fabulous money, is not widely distributed due to its small number. Its extract has neither taste nor smell. 7 drops per cup. Stir 3 times counterclockwise, add sugar. You taught me how to make this solution yourself, my dear. I'm sorry for using this knowledge against you. I stroke your long, soft hair, inhaling their scent. Sleep, my love, I will keep your peace. Sleep, let sorrow let you out of its iron claws at least in a dream. Sleep, I'll take your pain for myself. I go into the bedroom and start sealing my things in scrolls. All the money accumulated over the years. Clothes. Kunai. Food for the first time. Children's drawings. Photo. Going into the kitchen, I take Itachi's katana. As a keepsake. I look around the apartment for the last time. I don't think I'm destined to be here again. I leave my keys on the shelf by the front door and leave. Near the Uchi quarter, a golden glow envelopes me. Jinchuriki, bound to their biju by ties of friendship, cannot be caught in genjutsu. The fox's cover protects against external attacks. The lack of experience is covered by Kurama's control and speed, which is not available to ordinary mortals. Today I am stronger than any Konoha shinobi. The red chakra spreads down the street, blood stains the hands, the handle of the katana slides into the palm. My movements are like flashes of lightning when I rush from one house to another. Proud Sharingan bearers die in their beds, often without even having time to realize it. These people have done nothing wrong to me, most of them I see for the first time. Death is feasting here today. Sharp blows, quiet sobs. Weak attempts at resistance are ruthlessly suppressed. It is already impossible to make out which puddles are on the street from the rain, and which from the spilled blood. There's so much of it that I think I'm going to drown soon. The night is illuminated by a full moon, the throat is clogged with a vile metallic smell, it's getting harder to breathe. The last house. Itachi's house. Sasuke is not in it today, apparently Danzo has found a way to isolate him. The first room. A beautiful black-haired woman is sleeping in her bed. Katana cuts her throat with a single blow. The door opens, a tall man enters. What's going on here? He activates the Sharingan, already fully ready for battle. I'm sorry, Fugaku-sama, but you've already lost. I'm faster. The long blade pierces through the chest. Why? Why are you doing this? Blood bubbles on his lips, apparently a lung has been punctured. The body of the head of the conspirators falls next to his dead wife. For the sake of peace. For the sake of your children. The man closes his eyes, his breathing stops. The last glance shows me that he understood what I was talking about. It's time to leave. A few hours later I stop at a small river for a short rest. I wash the blood off my face and palms, although I am well aware that it will remain there forever. I fill the canteens with water. I take out a white cloak fringed with flames from a scroll of clothes. My father used to wear it. I found it by chance, at one of the sales. Initially, it was a dirty gray color, but fabric paints and a little imagination corrected the situation. I throw it over my shoulders, straighten the stand-up collar. It's time to move on. Having stopped at the border of the country, I am waiting for the chase, clutching a three-pronged kunai in my hand. There's no point in running any further. I guess who was sent after me. Stop, Naruto. I don't need to look around to determine who is standing behind me. Itachi, Iruka, Kakashi. 3 men who changed my life. 3 people who replaced the family. I killed them deliberately. What? What did you say? I say that I killed these people deliberately. The fox didn't break free, Itachi. I let him out myself. I turn and look at them. Who do you see in front of you now, Sensei Iruka? Still your favorite student? And you, Kakashi-sensei? Do I remind you of a dead teacher? Itachi, I'm not a child anymore, don't look at me like that. Why did you do that? Itachi is extremely serious, he was the first to pull himself together. For you, I smile. My soul is surprisingly calm. What do you have? How did you find out? Itachi does not let Kakashi finish the question. It doesn't matter, my dear. It is wrong when children are forced to kill their parents, even if they are 3 times conspirators. It is wrong to declare a Nukenin a person who carries out the order of the village leadership. It is wrong to make a child hate the only surviving relative. You were wrong, Itachi. Sasuke wouldn't have gotten stronger. The thirst for revenge would break him, turn him into a madman obsessed with hatred. Danzo and the advisors are playing too much. He shudders at every word I say and lowers his head. Kakashi and Iruka's eyes are wide, they understand what I'm talking about. Now they understand. They'll declare you a Nukenin. Iruka shakes his head. I laugh back, light and carefree. No village leadership, being in their right mind, will assign the title of criminal to their Jinchuriki. They will try to catch me and lock me up, subjugate me to their will, but they will never tell outsiders about their shame. I don't want to live in a cage. Kakashi nods, he agrees with my conclusions. Iruka suddenly removes the leaf protector from his head and throws it to me. I catch him and raise a surprised look at the first teacher. You have the will of fire in you, my beloved disciple. I hope you come home. I smile my most sincere smile and tie the gift on my head. I will become the most famous Hokage yet, Dadabayo. You'll see. He smiles back at me. It's time to say goodbye. I make a sharp jump and find myself right in front of Itachi, trying to look into his eyes. He pulls me to him sharply. I'm not letting you go anywhere, please become happy, Itachi. I look straight into his eyes, in which the red fire of Sharingan has already lit up. I'm not letting you go anywhere, he shakes his head stubbornly. I love you. Very. Wait for me, I will definitely come back. I stand on tiptoe and gently touch his lips with my own. Itachi answers me, seizing the initiative. This is my first kiss. He is full of crazy tenderness, longing, hope. So I want it not to stop. I squeeze the kunai tighter, clenched in my hand, and mentally pronounce, the technique of the god of thunder. A blue flash takes me into the unknown. Itachi falls to his knees and presses his fingers to his lips. The scent of oranges, ozone and bitter wormwood hovers nearby. The smell of Naruto. I don't care what Kakashi and Iruka think of him. Itachi is 17 years old, and he is the captain of the ANBU. The new head of a once great clan, a genius who lost not only his family, but also a loved one that night. 3 tomos spin and merge into a single pattern, and bloody tears roll from the eyes. We need to get back. To return to the village that he loves and hates at the same time. To his stupid little brother, to his tired duties, to the false reality that he had already managed to say goodbye to. He accepts Naruto's choice. And be sure to wait for her. Get up, wipe away the bloody tears with a sharp movement of the hand. The second season, Itachi is 19 years old when he becomes the head of the ANBU. He is handsome, rich, strong and incredibly popular. Perfect. His appearance is shrouded in tragedy, a certain touch of mystery and doom, giving its owner a similarity with the heroes of past times. Adults set him as an example to their children. Respectable fathers of the family try to woo their daughters. The face of the head of the Uchiha clan resembles a frozen mask. He indifferently rejects all offers to sit in the company, invariably refuses to date, is always focused on work. People think that this person is a wound-up mechanism. His days are filled with paper reports of subordinates, training of young recruits, monitoring the security of the village. He was very tired that I've been drinking for months. Alcohol clouded the mind, did not allow pain and despair to overwhelm, drown in the abyss of hopelessness. I was given a leave of absence, believing that the death of my family at the hands of a 12-year-old girl hit me harder than if I had killed them myself. My brother followed me around, pestering me with stupid revenge plans, senseless accusations, absurd consolations. The villagers felt sorry for us, poured dirt on Naruto, said that she had always been rotten and cruel, that sooner or later she would still show her killer essence. The words hit backhand, causing dull pain. It was my essence. My way. Damn the world in which betrayal is called practicality. That I didn't care about Sasuke, I didn't care about work, I didn't care about all the residents of Konoha. I realized too late who exactly the blue-eyed Jinchuriki was for me. More than a friend. More than a family. Bigger than the whole world. That I come to the training ground where we met, sit down at a wooden pole and remember, smiles, gestures, words. The warmth that Naruto gave me. My personal sun. It's good that it's autumn and it's raining. You can smile bitterly, exposing your face to ice drops. Rain means that you can close your eyes and not worry about anything else. No one will come to this place, no one will see me like this. That I lower my head into my hands, burying my fingers in my wet hair, whisper her name in a hollow voice and hide my face in my palms. That's how I would sit for eternity, under the pouring autumn rain, in the piercing wind, not hearing my own sobs, but feeling my soul coming out screaming. Sit there and never come back. That it was so easy, habitual, convenient to believe all these years that I am the master of my own destiny. That I can cope with everything alone, put all the troubles of this world on my shoulders and carry them to the end. I was ready for this. Naruto's act knocked the ground out from under my feet. There were no plans for the future, because the future, as such, was not planned by me. I didn't know what to do after killing the clan. I just wanted to go with the flow, depending on the situation. I was sick and disgusted with myself, from letting her go then. Really take away my pain and my loneliness, change fate. I do not know where she is now, what is happening to her. Damn helplessness. I hated that feeling, and now it gripped me every time I thought about Naruto. I had to pull myself together. I promised to wait for her, and I will. Danzo died suddenly. Just turned into an oak tree. Either the sun was shining too brightly, or the stars came together and decided to show fuck to an elderly lover of stolen goods, but one day, right in the middle of the main street of Konoha, the venerable elder began to grow branches with swelling buds. The personal bodyguards of the head of the ANBU at this time imitated curious young boys and stared in bewilderment while their superiors cursed some fucking experimenter. I've never laughed like that in my life. The tree was carefully dug up and moved to the laboratory. The invited experts just shrugged their hands. There was no intelligence in the plant. After sighing, the village leadership made a decision, and the oak was transplanted to the outskirts of the village cemetery. He didn't bother anyone else. The debate about who should take the vacant place did not stop for several months until I was nominated for the post. In fact, I was an ideal candidate for them. 52 missions of rank A, 17 S. I have been in the service for a long time. I have proven myself well. I am loyal to the leadership and I have only one failed task in stock, the capture of Jinchuriki. I didn't want to take this position, but I agreed. For Sasuke's sake. For Naruto's sake. For 2 years Sasuke hated my beloved girl, becoming enraged by her name alone. For 2 years he trained like hell to find and kill her. The emotions that overwhelmed my brother were disgusting to me, made me want to go to the shower and rub myself with a washcloth for a long time. I realized that it was then that Naruto was trying to convey to me, Sasuke was really weak. And his strength could not grow on hatred. Hate is too destructive to waste time on. I tried to explain it to my brother, and I almost succeeded. I don't think he would listen to anyone but me. One day, while training on Hokage Mountain, Sasuke accidentally stumbled and fell into a strange cave located right in the head of the first one. Fugaku had one quality that was extremely unsuitable for a leader of conspirators. He always wrote down his plans. Scribbling with a pen on sheets of paper, they were formed in his head with incredible accuracy. It just made it easier for him to think. I searched the whole block trying to find these records, turned the clan's secret hideout upside down, was almost ready to drain the lake in the backyard of our house, but it turned out that I was looking in the wrong place all the time. Glancing at the lines written by his father's firm hand, Sasuke cried. Finally, it became clear why no one had told him about the details of the plot. He simply should not have lived to see the coup. The father, not without reason, I must say, assumed that if he killed his younger son with his own hand, he would be able to purchase a Mangekyou Sharingan. This would greatly increase the chances of the uprising's success. We did not hide these documents from the leadership of Konoha, after which the third and the advisors breathed a sigh of relief. It was a chance to bring Jinchuriki home. The people were told a touching story about how Naruto found out about the conspiracy and decided to save the inhabitants of her beloved village, even if she sacrificed her reputation. The leadership itself allegedly did not know about the conspiracy. Why didn't the girl come to the Hokage for help? Who knows? Difficult childhood, probably. I didn't trust adults. All doubters were presented with documents confirming their authenticity. The residents got into it, sighed about the difficult fate of the teenager and calmed down. The owner of Ichiraku Ramen publicly stated that he had never doubted the girl. By the way, it was absolutely true. The rest of the people began to disgust me. How quickly their opinion changes. Enemy friend, enemy friend. Konoha began to wait for her hero. Itachi is 21 years old when Sasuke passes the Chunin exam and gets the cursed mark. Snake Sannin miscalculated, Sasuke has no one to take revenge on, and therefore he will not go for power. All Orochimaru's techniques are powerless against Itachi, so he throws the loser out of his head. As it turned out, in vain. There is a barrier on the roof of the building, a rebellious Shikaku is raging outside the walls, and the sand is attacking from all sides. It's a difficult choice, Hokage or villagers, but Itachi has long decided who his king is. The old man must cope. It's not for nothing that he has held his post for so long, which means that you need to help your subordinates knock out aggressive guests from the village. The attackers choke on their own blood, never having had time to really start, but the barrier is indestructible, and no one knows what happens behind it. He is impenetrable to sounds, the forest obscures visibility, and Anbu can only wait for the outcome of the duel, clenching his fists in impotent anger. A ringing girlish cry of Rasengan cuts through the silence, and the seemingly insurmountable barrier is showered with broken glass fragments. The forest is melting, the sun is too hot this summer. The air trembles and melts from the heat of the day, becomes thick as molasses, buzzes with midges. My head is splitting, I want to go and lie on the riverbank, not thinking about anything. To hide for a while from the hustle and bustle of the day, to hide from the sticky glances of passers-by, to forget at least for a moment that she is not there. My face resembles a frozen mask, behind which I hide my feelings and desires. This mask has been on me for so long, it has become so close to my whole being that it no longer requires any additional efforts on my part to maintain it. I am calm, indifferent, I have not been interested in anything for a long time. For years have passed, having taken the post of head of the Anbu, I began to act. But time passed, and still there was no result that I've been trying to find her. He sent search parties, spread news around the world about her innocence, went on a search on his own. She was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. They say that one day she was seen in the land of clouds, and the next day she was seen in the grass. They say that she has not changed too much, she has only matured a little. They say she signed a contract with the toads. The Toad Hermit, one of the legendary Sannins, is her godfather. They met a few years ago and temporarily traveled the world together, but then split up again. Why didn't she come back? I tried to forget her. Sake, work, girls. Life was like a vile swamp, dragging me in and not going to let me out of its embrace. Alcohol wore off by morning, work caused irritation, the girls turned out to be, all as one, blondes. Everything in this cursed village reminded me of her. I felt sick of myself that in my life there is everything except the most important. The most necessary, eternal, worthwhile. Why do you need looks, strength, position in society, money, if there is no one to give it to? Come back, Naruto, I'll buy you a new life. Come back, I'm suffocating without you. I resigned myself and waited. Sasuke was a difficult teenager, capricious, envious, cruel. His sudden mood swings sometimes drove me to frenzy. Desires changed every week, there was no definite goal in life, he did not recognize any authorities. He changed a lot after he found out about the betrayal of his own family. Maybe it was my fault, I didn't spend enough time with my younger brother, but I didn't want to change anything. Yes, he was still the best genin of his course, but natural data rather than perseverance and hard work helped him in this. In my opinion, his teamwork also left much to be desired. Sasuke always tried to separate himself from his squad. Not counting them as friends, and even more so, his equal, he often violated orders, trying to show himself in a favorable light against the background of the guys. Sometimes this led to the proper result, sometimes, on the contrary, prevented the task from being completed successfully. His behavior seemed to me stupid posturing that I didn't understand Sakura's insistent desire to attract my brother's attention, especially since her methods didn't work anyway. Sasuke humiliated her, called her a fool and a burden, but the girl still tried to please him. She cooked his dinners, went everywhere with her tail, called him on dates. And she always received only another portion of contempt. She definitely had the makings of a ninja medic, but these data needed to be developed. Sai, the suckling of Danzo. The guy loved to draw, named brother and books. I didn't leave it in the ANBU. The fate of a fighter of my squad is not an enviable fate for a young guy, I know this firsthand. Shin died, although the best doctors of Konoha fought for his life for 4 months. After the funeral, I gave Sai the opportunity to choose his own destiny, and he decided to go to the academy for his final year of study. The boy needed to learn to live again. Comprehend emotions and feelings, acquire new attachments. I was hoping he could find his way. That I did not approve of Kakashi's desire to put his team on the Chunin exam, but I considered it unnecessary to interfere. They did not participate in any serious battle, did not perform tasks above the C rank, did not possess any special skills that make them an order of magnitude higher than the rest of the participants. They had a place to grow. But Kakashi believed in them, considered them sufficiently united and able to pass the tests. The day we said goodbye to Naruto, the gray-haired ninja supported me, lying to the Hokage that the dogs had lost track, and I was still grateful to him that I also took this exam once. The youngest participant. I was not afraid of anything, I was confident in my own success and the people who supported me. Shursui was still alive then. Memories roll in quite expectedly, plunge into the whirlpool of the past. The first friend. The best. Understanding me with half a word, half a glance, half a breath. Someone who was much closer to his own brother. The one whose death shocked me to the depths of my soul, inflicted unhealed wounds on my heart. Today I'm looking at teenagers taking the exam from the village leadership. Some of them will join the ranks of my unit in the future, and I need to notice these guys in advance. The first exam passed without incident. 9 simple questions and the 10th is the most important one. It is impossible to become a shinobi without knowing the answer to the last question. The events in the Forest of Death did not excite me much. I put a restraining seal on the damn mark and put them out of my mind. Over the years of using Mangekyo Sharingan, my strength has increased many times. I honed the art of genjutsu to perfection, studied all the secret techniques of the cursed eyes, and did not consider Orochimaru a worthy rival. At that moment, I was much more interested in the sand shinobi that flooded Konoha, and the unbalanced carrier of the one-tailed. We had no right to refuse him the exam, it would violate all the agreements of Sand and Leaf, but I literally felt the danger coming from him with my skin. The guy was an aggressive madman, obsessed with bloodlust, and even his siblings tried to avoid his company. In addition, I had evidence that my predecessor was leaking information about how to protect the village to our non-allies. I tried to change the plans of the defense lines, but the advisors considered me a reinsurer. All the reproaches against Danzo were slander, and the upcoming spending on the development of a new security system was an unjustified waste of budget funds. It remained only to keep an eye out, so as not to become a helpless victim in the event of an attack. The third stage, selection. The representative of the Inazuki clan is too hot, but this is typical of hereditary dog breeders. A fight between the senior and junior branches of the Hyugo clan. Hayashi should put the boy in his place, or make him the future heir of the clan. There is no third way. Sasuke's fight predictably ends with his brother's victory. Rock Lee is a genius, I declare it publicly. He will become one of the best shinobi in the future. Sakura and Ino, very expected. Shino. Well done, definitely talented, Cheiji. I expected more from this guy. Shikamaru. The strategic mindset, the ability to calculate the strengths and weaknesses of the enemy, is able to calculate the entire battle in advance. The best I've seen today. 1010 is definitely too early to take the exam. We need to train more. Cy. Very good, keep up the good work. The last round. Intuition screams that today will not end well. I activate the Mangekyo Sharingan, all senses are sharpened to the limit. I glance at the rows of spectators in the stands, I feel the tension hanging in the air. I'm standing on the walls of the stadium and waiting. I am collected, focused, ready to act at any second. White feathers descend on the stadium. I was right, the barrier is a purple quadrangular prism impregnated with the chakra of the supporting sides. A strange structure, neither frontal attacks nor a pinpoint strike are suitable for overcoming. The leader of the village of sound thoroughly prepared for the fulfillment of his cherished desire. We need at least one powerful attack, but consisting of many thin lines. They say that Jiraiya owns such a technique, but now he is not in the village. In a split second, I calculate the options in my head, trying to find a way out. Rasengan. The blow is directed, applied from somewhere above, breaks the barrier. Right in front of us, 6 teenagers appear in a blue flash, looking no more than 16 years old. Did you miss me, Orochimaru-sama? A mocking voice, funny sparkles in blue eyes. My heart starts beating at a crazy speed. Naruto, judging by the expression on the face of the yellow-eyed freak, if he was bored, it wasn't very much, and he was ready to postpone the upcoming meeting for as long as he wanted. Orochimaru's subordinates are clearly confused, looking at each other in bewilderment and trying to recreate a barrier. Karen, you're wearing a girl. Kimamaru, take the two-headed one. Haku, take the fat one. Suigetsu is your 6-armed. Yugo, please run away and calm down the one-tailed one. She clearly gives orders to her companions and instantly moves directly to the snake Sannin. His hands are still held by the god of death, and he simply does not have time to dodge the katana's blow. That's all, a stupid and ridiculous end to such a busy life. One of the strongest shinobi of our time, an experienced fighter who went through the war, dies due to unfortunate circumstances. It's personal, Naruto whispers. She fearlessly approaches the god of death, thrusting her hands into his stomach up to the elbows, and begins to pull something out of him. Soon a red thread appears, immediately connecting with Naruto's body. The creature growls and twitches, but can't hold its prey. Long minutes of tug-of-war drag on. I'm afraid to move, even to breathe seems blasphemy to me. Orochimaru's henchmen are demoralized, wrapped in strong threads of restraining seals, unable to resist. Finally, it's over. The red thread disappears completely into the blue-eyed girl. Naruto falls, and the god of death dissolves into the approaching twilight. Time stood still. Naruto's red-haired companion runs up to her, and abruptly unbuttoning her sleeve, cuts her wrist with a kunai. He brings his bloody hand to the lips of the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. Breath. The chest begins to rise. He will live, the relieved exhalation of the surrounding people. Ugh, you scared me to hiccups. I almost turned gray. Fool. The red-haired woman screams at the awakened Naruto, and I feel the minutes begin to move again. Tick-tock tick-tock. Time continues to run. Itachi is 23 years old when he dies. For the last time he looks into his beloved eyes, runs his hand over the delicate oval of his face, touches soft lips with his fingers. Naruto reminds him of a fragile statuette, a work of art that came out from under the hands of a master genius. The black eyes close, the soul says goodbye to the world of the living. Jinchuriki screams, tearing his voice, howls like a wounded beast, goes crazy from the pain that has rolled over. Naruto asks for help from anyone, she is in despair, her life is shattering into millions of pieces and the girl is unsuccessfully looking for something to cling to now. The force beats out of her with a key. Kubi no Yoko is not going to be an outsider participant in this drama, indifferently watching his carrier suffer. 9 tails soar over the village. The funeral of the third is taking place. People cry standing at the coffin, and the sky cries with them. He was a good ruler, a good warrior and worthily accepted death, defending his native village. The third was trusted, loved, and considered a support. I grieve for him with everyone else, standing in the front row. And I'm glad that another person who broke Naruto's childhood got a ticket to meet her parents. I hope Minato-san and Kushina-sama will explain to him all the fallacy of such actions against a little girl. The fifth Hokage was Tsunade Senju, one of the Great Trinity. The granddaughter of the first Hokage, who lost all the people dear to her during the Third Shinobi War. Brown-eyed, blonde, possessing incredible physical strength, the best ninja medic in the shinobi world. She came to Konoha herself as soon as she found out about what had happened. But I did not come to the teacher, not to the villagers, not even to the advisors. She came to Naruto. The young Jinchuriki lies in the hospital for a week, adapting to the nine-tailed in full. After she was taken to the ward, she fell asleep and never regained consciousness. Thin arms wrap around countless 4 tubes. The needles pierce the delicate skin, dispersing the life-giving solution through the veins. Pale face, deep shadows under the eyes. If it wasn't for the quiet, hoarse breathing, would have thought she was dead. The squeak of the devices working in the ward is getting on your nerves. I am here around the clock, leaving only to take a shower. I can't eat, I can't sleep, I just sit and count the minutes. I win time on my fingers, crumple it in my hands, trying to break the vicious circle that has engulfed us. Sleep sometimes still humbles me, and after a few hours I wake up in a panic, terrified, to sticky palms, afraid not to hear her breathing. It seems to me that we have one for both of us, and if it suddenly breaks off, then I will also die. Naruto's friends who came with her keep me company. And all, as one, are silent. We're sitting right on the floor, propping up the walls, and we're probably thinking the same thing. Wake up, please, wake up soon, stop torturing us with waiting, turning the soul into ragged rags, suitable only for washing floors. Twice a day, by the personal order of the fifth, the hospital staff brings us food that remains practically untouched. On the 8th day Naruto wakes up, on the 9th day he is discharged from the hospital. All 6 are recognized as the new Chunins of Konoha, given the title of heroes and resettled on the outskirts of the village. Naruto smiles at his friends, smiles at the hospital staff, smiles at all the passers-by he met on the way to the new house, and for some reason does not look me in the eye at all. It is bright, lively, sunny. Her warmth floods everything around, brings a new, fresh stream into the frozen life of the village, and I want to grab her by the shoulders, to the point of pain, and shake her. Look at me, honey, look at me. She doesn't hide her gaze, but she slips away, runs away, flies away with the wind, and I can't catch her in any way. I have to get back to work. A pile of accumulated garbage, popularly called important documents, fills my days. Advisors are yelling about an expanded budget and a new security system. Tsunade demands lists of all the ANBU fighters. The interrogation department is interested in what to do with the captured sand shinobi. When I come home at night, I collapse on the bed and fall asleep. Black crows are circling in dreams. Naruto comes by herself. The paper piles have been dismantled, the security system has been installed, the sandpipers are going home. Gaara tamed Shikaku with the help of the nine-tailed, recognized Naruto as his best friend and dumped him to take the post of Kazekage, instead of his deceased father. I come home and see her in the kitchen making tea. The scent of jasmine is in the air. She smiles, looks at me with her unearthly eyes, and holds out a hot mug. How then? Silence drips in heavy drops. I warmed the cup in my palms, examining it. The same hairstyle in the style of the fourth Hokage, a white raincoat with flames, under it, a Chunin vest. She has matured, has taken shape, and no longer looks like a child. I glance at my hands, at the fragile line of shoulders, high breasts. I can't do it anymore. I reach out to her, I crush my scarlet lips with my own, I crush them under me. And she obeys. I'm probably a fool if I could doubt her. It's Naruto, my Naruto. Touches burn, melt the skin, how I missed you, how long you were not around. A whirlwind rages in my head, does not allow me to stop, think, give time to retreat, and I burn in it all, without a trace. Somewhere on the periphery of consciousness, Sasuke mutters, something about doors, his own rooms and shamelessness. Spit. She's there, and I don't need anything else. Tear off your clothes, touch your neck with your lips, run your palms over your body. Don't let go. Kissing, kissing, drowning in the blue of her eyes, dissolving in her breath, burying her hand in short strands of hair. To finally become one, to connect the fragments of two souls, to find your happiness. We gave this world everything we had, our families, friends, hopes. And what's left for us? Love. To the point of insanity, to the frenzied pounding of blood in the temples, to the metallic taste in the mouth. I won't give it to anyone that we are lying on the bed, looking at the starry sky through the open window. I don't remember how we ended up in my room. I listen to her heartbeat, hold her closer to me and kiss her temple. Why didn't you come back earlier? That's a bad question. Weak. Assuming a puzzled look, and the answer is, because. But I can't not ask it. It was hard for me. I will lie to you, my dear, if I say that the life of a 12-year-old girl, left alone with the whole world, is easy and cloudless. The shinobi world is full of dirt. Blood, greed, envy, pain rule the ball in it. Cold. Dark. Scary. Nowhere to go. I was spinning in a circle, and it was damn difficult to stop. I walked forward like a blind kitten, stepping on the same rake 1,000 times. I didn't always come across bad people on my way. Guys. I met them before I met my godfather. With each separately, but our lives were surprisingly similar. They helped me, but I didn't have the strength to respond in kind then. Almost all of them were Orochimaru's guinea pigs that we met with Jiraiya at the hot springs. When I noticed a gray-haired man peeping at a women's bathing pool, I immediately raised a cry. All the girls rushed after him in pursuit, but only I was lucky enough to catch up. He shouted something about what a great ninja he is and used Rasengan to prove it. Father's technique. I clung to the pervert with pincers, trying to shake out how he knows this technique. That's how we found out that we are not strangers to each other. You know, he was like a grandfather to me. Pampered me, taught me everything he knew himself. He healed my soul, pulled out the poisonous thorns that pierced my heart and poisoned more and more with every second. I wanted to come back, very much. But I had too many debts behind me that needed to be repaid. I left Jiraiya for friends. Your friends. I need their characteristics, For work, laughs. Fun, ringing. Sweet. Well, yes, it's not exactly the right time and place, but that's the way I am. Not a romantici. Well, in short. Karen Uzumaki. One of the few surviving members of my clan. Orphan. Possesses innate ireninjutsu skills. Strong censor. Kimimaro Kagaya. The last representative of his clan, an orphan. Kekkei Genkai, is able to grow bones at will and change them in shape and hardness. At the same time, his bones are harder than steel. Suigetsu Hozuki, an orphan. Swordsman, owns a suetun. His sword, the throat cutter, used to belong to Zabuza. Haku Yuki. The last representative of his clan, an orphan. Kekei Genkai of Ice. It is difficult for me to explain its action, it needs to be seen live. Well, Yugo. He doesn't know if he has any relatives. Owns a natural chakra. It was based on his DNA that Orochimaru created the cursed seal. You have interesting companions. I smile with the corners of my lips. What are there? You snuggle closer to me. They are my family. They really were a family. Life has treated these teenagers cruelly, individually, in its own way, but, at the same time, surprisingly similar. They have known the pain of loneliness, loss of loved ones, human indifference. Each resembling a thin thread by itself, intertwining together, they became a steel rope that could not be broken. Their house was surprisingly cozy. In the evenings, the guys gathered in the common living room, lit the fireplace and warmed themselves for hours from the tenderness, trust, warmth emanating from each other. I stayed with them more and more often at night. Under the demands of Suigetsu from behind the wall, stop this debauchery in the middle of the night, and Karen's reciprocal promises to shut up the blonde-haired sonorous idiot who prevents honest people from sleeping. I fell into the pool of my beloved girl's eyes and dreamed that this strip of my life would never end. Nothing can last forever. The death of Jiraiya at the hands of the leader of a criminal organization shocked Naruto. The news was brought by a toad who participated in that battle. Akatsuki. A bunch of S-class criminals pursuing incomprehensible goals. They carried out missions as mercenaries, acting in pairs. I followed them with the help of intelligence, but they have not yet appeared on the territory of the Country of Fire. Why did the Toad Hermit go to the Village of Rain, knowing that it was under martial law? I don't think we will ever be able to get an answer to this question. Toad suggested Naruto to go to Mount Myobokuzen to undergo some very secret training, and she agreed. I was pining, although I understood that the separation was temporary and necessary. Naruto needed a distraction. Pain's visit brought Konoha's military forces to their knees. I didn't know why the red-haired creatures were looking for Jinchuriki, but I was definitely aware that no one from the village would betray the secret to the enemy. Naruto managed to regain the respect of the residents and shinobi. They loved her, they were proud of her. To give it to her opponents meant finally signing her own helplessness and uselessness. We fought. Amaterasu burned the bodies of his opponents in black fire, but after a few minutes they recovered again. My eyes hurt. The fifth was in a coma. We had no chance against Rinnegan. Heavenly conquest destroyed the village. Susanoo has protected me from death, but the warrior melts. There is no more chakra to maintain the technique. No strength. We need to find it. Stand up. 6 bodies in front of me, again in full combat readiness. 6 pairs of eyes, the mysterious ways of the hermit Rikudo. 6 abilities that exceed human ones. I can't give up to them, I can't give Naruto away. It's beyond me. An iron pin pierces through the chest. Behind me is a girl with blue hair decorated with a white paper flower. Cold brown eyes, pursed lips. Pain didn't come alone. She reaches for my throat, but a blue flash takes me away from the attackers. Sky. I can see the sky in Naruto's eyes. Transparent tears are dripping on my face. Hold on, please, just hold on, just don't die, just don't leave me alone again. Lips whisper incoherent words, tremble, voice breaks. The bitter smell of wormwood clogs the nose, penetrates the lungs. You're beautiful, Naruto. My treasure, my eternity. I love you. I need to find the strength, I need to tell her how much I love her, how important she is to me, how I want her to be happy. Can't. I try to open my mouth, but my consciousness fades. Goodbye, my unfulfilled dream. Goodbye, I will always be in your heart. That I thought I would see my parents, the clan, sure sway, but it turned out that no one was waiting for me on the other side. Only a gray wasteland and black crows against the dirty background of reality. So this is death. I sit down right on the wet sand covering the plane of my existence and freeze. I don't want to think, move, there are no more goals. It's a pity that it ended like this. I haven't done too much in my life. Time stops the course. That I don't know exactly how much time has passed in the real world, and a golden glow envelopes me and pulls me into the unknown. Heaven and earth are changing places. I open my eyes and shake my head uncomprehendingly. In the middle of the crater left over from the village, there is some kind of incomprehensible crap, releasing green rays. What's happening? Why the hell am I alive? Itachi is 25 years old when the Fourth Shinobi War begins. He looks at the 80,000th army of soldiers from the commander's platform and sees the birth of a new era. This war is unique in its essence. Never before, in the entire history of the world, have all 5 countries united into one army to fight a common enemy. Samurai have never violated their neutrality. She has already changed the souls of people, has already made them feel united, equal. The long-term struggle is forgotten. Gaara managed to find the key to every heart. The young general says that there is no more Suna, Willow, Konoha, Kiri, or Kyumo. There is the hardness of stone, the speed of lightning, the lightness of wind, the calmness of water, and the will of fire. Itachi believes him, adjusting the protector with the shinobi sign on his head. The world will never be the same. Naruto knew how to distinguish good from evil without painting the world in black and white. She was able to see the good even in scoundrels, changing them, giving them a chance to correct. Her main feature was the ability to believe in herself, and to transmit this faith to other people. The main proof of this skill was the tombstone of Nagato Uzumaki, right in the middle of the shinobi cemetery of our village. There was no body under it, but the memory of a man who dreamed of changing the world will forever remain in the annals of history. The villagers came to the monument and sat next to it for a long time, realizing that it was their past stupidity and cruelty that gave birth to pain. They released their pain, their fear and hatred to him, promising to learn from their own mistakes. They promised to make the world a better place. The hospital was overcrowded. A lot of crippled people were waiting for their turn for the attention of ninja doctors. While there was a debate about who should take the post of the 6th Hokage, Tsunade came to her senses. People breathed a sigh of relief, because the frequent change of the rulers of the village could not help to raise the morale of its inhabitants. A new life spread like spring streams through the veins. I was given a unique chance to correct mistakes and fulfill dreams. I began to think more and more about what I wanted. If we discard politics, Akatsuki, duties to the village. If you forget about what is not in my life, and never will be. If you imagine that all my wishes will come true, you just have to stretch out your hand. I wanted my own house. An orchard in the backyard, a fireplace in the living room, an affectionate wife. Children, at least 3. Friends coming to visit and gatherings at the festive table. Comfort. Not caring about decency, I moved in with Naruto. During the attack, the central street and the surrounding areas were affected, while the outskirts remained untouched. The people living there now felt like kings of the world. It was good at home. Suigetsu and Karen sorted out their relationship to each other, broke half of the common dishes and moved into one room. Kimimaro and Yugo disappeared for days on the street, catching the admiring glances of young girls. The guys proved themselves well and now rested on the laurels of deserved popularity. Haku got together with Hinata. Walking through the winding streets of the recovering village, the couple turned touchingly red and pale, but stubbornly did not unclench their hands. Hayashi rubbed his chin thoughtfully, looking closely at a possible son-in-law. The changes affected everyone, but most of all, in my opinion, Sakura has changed. Pain's attack broke something in her, shattering her rose-colored glasses and forcing her to see the real world. She became a student of the 5th Hokage and tried to become stronger with all her might. My brother finally paid attention to the pink-haired admirer, but her childhood crush was also in the past. Now the attention of the young kunoichi was awarded to Guy's disciple, Rock Lee. Strange, in an awkward green suit, with a funny hairstyle, but, as it turned out, loyal and very kind. They were nice to look at. There was a lot of work. The news that Konoha was almost destroyed could have prompted other countries to attack, because it was their chance to get rid of the old enemy once and for all. However, the ruler of Suna publicly stated that an attack on Konoha would be equivalent to declaring war on a village hidden in the sand, which noticeably cooled the ardor of the aggressors. After all, List's army remained intact, even though it was demoralized. All the villagers, including the elderly and children, took part in the great construction. Builders flocked from all over the land of fire, striving to restore the homes of their defenders as quickly as possible. Carts with medicinal herbs, clothes, and food flowed in an endless stream. The rubble was sorted out, the surviving books and scrolls were found, the lost knowledge was restored bit by bit. Sasuke was left alone to rebuild his new place of residence, which he was extremely dissatisfied with. This is already his problem. He would have been more friendly with others, you see, and would have found helpers. Now you have to cook in a canvas tent and wait for the construction crew's turn to reach you. Or try to rebuild yourself. What will come out faster is unclear. The village, hidden in the foliage, was reborn from the ashes. The 5 great villages still exchanged data on the organization of criminals. It turned out that it consists of 9 renegade ninjas, each of whom was wanted for committing terrible crimes. Now we knew their appearance, character, strengths, and weaknesses. Pain and his assistant Conan could be crossed out of the 9. There were 7 left. The fiasco of the attack on the Nine-Tailed did not pass without a trace for Akatsuki, but 6 months later they became active again, trying to come from the other end. Now there was no doubt that their target was the Jinchuriki. Suna was hit. The sand helped us in a difficult time, and we couldn't help but give them a helping hand in return. The rescue squad consisted of the team of Naruto, Kakashi, Guy, and Sakura. I was expecting feats from any of the listed and was not surprised that it was my brother's former teammate who distinguished herself. The girl personally killed one of the enemies, albeit with the help of Elder Sand. Sasori no Dana, the master puppeteer, was an extremely dangerous opponent. The results of the training of the 5th were on the face. Thanks to the incredible luck and charm of Naruto, Kazekage remained alive, but Shikaku was extracted. The second of the Akatsuki members was killed by Shikamaru Nara. It was almost impossible to annoy this guy, but if it happened, it became useless to ask for forgiveness. The guy did not know how to forgive and was not going to learn. The Immortal Haiden managed to drive him into a frenzy once, killing the genius teacher, Sarutobi Asuma. It happened near the border of the Land of Lightning, right after the capture of Akatsuki Two-Tailed Biju. Sarutobi was there on a mission and could not pass by. A week after Asuma's funeral, the scraps of the gray-haired swearing man's body were digested in the stomachs of wild animals living in the protected forest of the Nara clan. Shikamaru started smoking. Haiden's partner, Kakuzu, fell at the hands of Karen a month later. Hozuki and Uzumaki were returning from a fair held in a nearby village, where a guy refused to buy red-haired kunoichi beads, complaining about the lack of money. 90-year-old grandfather never learned to understand women in his long life. After hearing the couple's quarrels, the loser could not keep silent about the spendthrift of modern youth, and the girl burned out his brain. She had her trump cards up her sleeve. 5 hearts didn't help, and the drooling idiot was finished off by Suigetsu. What my brother and the blonde bomber from the stone, who met on a narrow path in the forest, did not share, I did not understand. But he refused to believe Sasuke that they were stymied by a dispute about art at all. The thought that Ototo could understand such complex matters blew my brain. Deidara's life ended in much the same way, except that his whole body exploded. Kisame died of anger. No, in fact, he died in a fight with Mato Guy, but he made a fatal mistake out of anger. Guy sincerely did not understand what could have angered his opponent so much. He really had a terrible memory for faces. Akatsuki lost fighters, and we lost tail demons. 7 Biju were captured by the enemies. The last straw was the attack on the named brother of Raikage. Bai managed to escape, but the enraged head of the village hidden in the cloud demanded the convocation of the Council of 5 Kage. Today is finally coming to an end. I stretching my stiff bones, and I'm about to go home when a call from the Hokage comes. Damn, I was so hoping to rest. My head is cast iron after hard work, but the orders of the leadership are not discussed. They are already waiting for me in the office of the 5th, in addition to Tsunade, Shikaku Nara is there. Today we received a message about the gathering of the Kage Council. You are coming with me as a guard. Senju's tired look. She has never been eager to become a Hokage, and if not for a combination of circumstances, she would not have agreed to take this post in her life. Taking care of the village requires a lot of effort, and the last of the legendary Trinity gives everything, without a trace. We will leave immediately. The road to the land of snow takes 5 days. The strongest shinobi of our time gather at the round table. Sitting comfortably on a chair, I begin to look at them from behind a light curtain. Raikage, Mizukage, Tsuchikage, Hokage. They are adults, wise with experience, who have gone through more than one war, and the presence of Kazekage Gaara is like an eyesore for them. It interferes, but you can't do anything. They shout at each other, turning serious negotiations into a market skirmish. I dare remind you that it was the shinobi Konoha who got rid of these creatures while you were sitting in your pants in your offices. Why are you dictating the terms? Leaf unreasonably appropriated the shinobi of foreign countries. Fog, for example, the fog should shut up. It's your Akatsuki originated. The stone sponsored them, entrusting missions. Shut up. Gaara's voice is quiet, reminiscent of the rustling of sand. He has brought his brother and sister with him as guards, but he is not at all afraid of people sitting at the same table with him. He is not afraid of anything at all, having learned this quality from his best friend. With Naruto's dreams, he builds the foundation of future relationships, leading his story. That the old feuds make us vulnerable. That arguments will lead to nothing. About a world without warriors and weakness in separation. About the desire to save the lives of dear people. The speech is conducted smoothly, glides like a silk ribbon, squeezing the hearts of the Kage. Gaara throws questions in their faces to which they have no answers. And puts an end to his monologue, asking the most important question: when did you forget who you are? Silence covers the room with a soft canopy. There is tension in the air, so dense that you can cut it with a knife. I peer into the faces of the leaders of the hidden villages, trying to guess their thoughts. Even the head of the samurai was thinking. Next to me, Shikaku grins and whispers softly in my ear, "He made them." I nod my head in agreement. Checkmate, gentlemen. I lean back in my chair, crossing my arms over my chest. Youth has won. Finally, the shinobi die off and begin to have a constructive dialogue. They are not allowed to finish by a cretin in an orange mask, who showed up with brazen demands to give him the remaining Jinchuriki. I'll kill the freak when I catch him. No one dares to make an attempt on my girlfriend. See what he wanted, Tsukuyami eternal to him. I will arrange such an illusory world for you, you will even be afraid to sleep. The Fourth Shinobi War has begun, the leader of the Shinobi Alliance becomes Raikage. He is hot-tempered, impulsive, but, of course, most suitable for this position. The general of the United Army is Gaara. I have been appointed commander of the 3rd Division of the United Shinobi Forces. I choose Kakashi as my deputy, and begin developing plans for effective combat. Our task is a short and medium-range combat. The lists of soldiers arrive daily, and I must, at least briefly, familiarize myself with their characteristics. War breaks out on all fronts at once. White humanoid creatures climb on us in waves, trying to take their number. They are able to change their appearance, fake the chakra, becoming indistinguishable from our own allies. Apparently, the enemy's calculation was based on this, but the nine-tailed Jinchuriki is easily able to distinguish a fake. Neither Bai nor Naruto were going to hide, and even Raikage had to come to terms with this fact. Thousands of clones supported the army, giving us a tangible advantage. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu is Naruto's favorite technique, and she can hold it as long as she wants. The remnants of the Zetsu are destroyed by Naruto's new technique, the Rasen Shuriken of the Wind, which has already proven itself perfectly. There is nothing more disgusting than disturbing the peace of the dead. They had already lived their lives, each in their own way, and now they had the right to rest. Going crazy from the unreal feeling of déjà vu, I watched the parents called by Edo Tensei. Fugaku's eyes expressed nothing but remorse, and my mother smiled at me. On that fateful night, I did not have to raise my hand against the people who gave me life, but fate decided to play a dishonest game, giving me a second chance. Putting the seal on Mikoto's head, I felt like I was torn apart by a bitter longing for childhood. My hands were dropping, my eyes stung unpleasantly. The wind carried the smell of wormwood. Naruto flashed by, pulling away his father's hand with the kunai raised. Punch, 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 sealing seal. My beloved, my dear. You always come when I need you so much, and you always save me from myself. Tenderness floods the heart, a light smile gives strength to stand up and continue the fight. Don't give up, the freak who summoned the dead has been found. The sensor center informs me about this, giving the order to eliminate the threat. I don't want to leave the battlefield, going to the devil knows where, but there is no way out. The assistant of the dead Orochimaru looks like a scarecrow, and I hardly recognize him as Kabuto. Lines from an old treatise of the Uchiha clan pop up in my head. Izanami is a technique in which the victim gets into genjutsu, where she has to experience an already occurred period of time over and over again, while in the real world she stands motionless. Even if the victim is aware of this, she will not be able to do anything against Izanami. So many victims, and a very simple solution. It's time to go back, that I'm coming back at the end. Thousands of surviving shinobi are rushing to the site of the battle, which will be the last in this war. Tobi, who was once Obito Uchiha, is dead. Madara Uchiha, one of the founders of Konoha, froze in front of Naruto, Bai, Kakashi, and Guy. He is surrounded by tailed beasts, and Renegan is burning in his eyes. Eight-tailed is wounded, Hatake and Mato's strength is running out. Naruto glows with an even golden glow, being in the halo of the nine-tailed chakra. It's the first time I've seen her bija live. Madara broadcasts about hatred, the insignificance of the new generation, her own plans. Silently I approach and take Naruto by the hand. Let's do it together, she looks me straight in the eye. Let's make it beautiful, the vortex is gaining momentum in her hand. I strain my tired eyes. The wind blows the black flame of Amaterasu, and we strike. For our hopes. For our dreams. For the future. Speed. You're wrong, Madara. Each time has its own heroes who are stronger than the previous ones. This is the meaning of life. Children are superior to their parents, always. He doesn't have time to dodge that we stand on the fragments of the past, trying to catch our breath. Waves of shinobi come in time, joyfully shouting and encouraging their heroes. I raise my hand, and silence falls on the field. They probably expect some kind of pretentious speech from me, but I don't know how to speak beautifully. For today, I have only one unfinished business left, which I promised myself to do immediately after the end of the war. I approach Naruto. She is breathing heavily, leaning on her knees. Kyubi no Yoko was sprawled next to him, putting his huge head on his paws. That I squat down and look into her eyes. Will you be my wife? A quiet yes is drowned in loud applause. Itachi is 27 years old when he becomes a father. There are no flowers, oranges and sweets in the hospital ward that are forbidden to a nursing woman. Sterile diapers are laid out in a neat pile near the changing table, colored vests are folded on the bedside table. The smell of milk is in the air. There are no outsiders at all, only Naruto and a tiny lump of happiness that Itachi holds in his arms. He has golden hair, black eyes, such small hands and feet. Itachi does not remember how to treat children at all, is scared of his every cry, and already loves with all his heart. Together they will learn to be good parents, together they will give him much needed warmth and care. Kazuki. Uchiha sweetly snores in Dad's arms, giving Mom the necessary rest. The whole world probably walked at our wedding. The covered tables were bursting with delicacies from different countries. Elegant girls looked after the grooms, no longer paying attention to the differences in form. The shinobi bandage and the past war have erased the boundaries, like a cook stirring soup. The broth was brewed on different traditions, different perceptions of the world and values, but the result was delicious. Hokage danced with Raikage, who hardly took his eyes off her deep cleavage. Gaara blushed from the gazes of Mizukage and was ready to sink into the ground from embarrassment. When Mei left with Hatake on her arm, the red-haired man finally exhaled with relief and gulped down a glass of something alcoholic. Sachikage settled comfortably on the bench, lined up 10 bottles of sake in front of him and prepared to tell everyone about his stormy youth. There were no such cases, but the old man did not lose heart, simply increasing the weight of the clothes of several poor fellows passing by. After making sure that the unwitting interlocutors could not move, he drank a couple of glasses and started baiting stories. By the end of the evening, the guys even listened. Beyond the outskirts of the village, a clearing was covered with tailed animals. I didn't know what they ate, but I was already sadly thinking how to pay for their feast. The nine-tailed one deigned to get out of Naruto, although he honestly warned that he would still stay with her, and would spend most of his time in his former place of residence. At least something was pleasing, since he was a disgusting interlocutor, shedding and eating an incredible amount of chicken. It seems that he did this to spite me, because in reality he did not need food at all. We didn't get along with the characters. Naruto was charming, spinning in her light white dress on the dance floor. Hand-woven from the finest lace of the land of the earth, decorated with sea pearls of the land of water and incredibly blue stones of the land of lightning, it was a true work of art. Naruto. My wife. Soft hip lines, chiseled figure, thin wrists. The blue vein on the neck is beating desperately. The wind ruffles golden hair, wiping out the smell of incense from them. A slight smile lights up everything around. Touching the delicate tanned skin, I was burned by its warmth. I looked into her impossibly blue eyes, drowned in them, and choked with tenderness, from the feeling of well-deserved, honestly suffered by me, happiness. I loved her so much that I could hardly find words to express my feelings. I idolized her, couldn't get enough of her, cast angry glances at the other guys who dared to stare at my miracle. Hell, I've never been possessive. I wanted to hide her from the whole world, to protect her, never to be separated again, even for a minute. I was afraid to let her go, I was afraid of losing her again, like in my previous life. I saw the reflection of my feelings in her eyes and believed her. If not to her, then to no one that I built the house myself. Such as I dreamed of. The backyard was planted with apple trees, Suigetsu helped to make a pond, Yugo released ducks there. In the kitchen, Naruto and I set up a round table, put a large bed in the bedroom, and lived a real family. Yes, my work and Naruto's missions took a lot of time, but our house now smelled of wormwood, jasmine tea, and homemade cakes. Comfort. In the living room, the firewood in the fireplace crackled warmly, welcoming us after a hard day. A year after our wedding, the fifth declared that she had had enough. Delegating her powers to Naruto, and thereby fulfilling my wife's childhood dream, Tsunade drove off to a village hidden in a cloud, supposedly to hot springs. Naturally, on vacation, since the position of Konoha's chief medical officer was waiting for her upon her return. At least until Sakura can replace her. It's strange that it was at this time that the Raikage handed over his post to the named brother. If they settle in our village, I won't survive it. Having accepted the post, the sixth Hokage began to actively introduce her own rules in the village. Replaced the advisors, sending the old men to hell, along with their merits and regalia. New appointed Shikaku Neru and Kakashi Hatake. She gave a dressing down to the council of the Hyuga clan, forcing them to change the order of inheritance, from the right of birth to the most worthy of the applicants. Signed a cooperation agreement with other countries, for a period of eternity. Reminded people what the will of fire means. Life went on as usual. The weddings of Karen and Suigetsu, Sakura and Lee, Gaara and Matsuri have died down. Kakashi married Mei, but for some reason he was in no hurry to move to the fog. The wife did not insist, she was overloaded with work. Apparently, she just wanted to get married and get the status of a wife, and life together could wait. That I really wanted children, and when an enraged Kurama showed up from Naruto and informed me that I would soon become a dad, I was ready to kiss the harmful muzzle. In principle, his discontent could be understood, after all, the third pregnant Jinchuriki in a row. They shared all the sensations equally, which did not add to my popularity in the huge yellow eyes. Very soon I realized that a pregnant wife is a test for a man. Pregnant Hokage is a test for the whole hidden village. A pregnant carrier of the strongest Biju is a test for the whole world. New advisors gave me more and more unfriendly looks every day. Of course, they had to be with Naruto all day. She was naughty, crying, angry for no reason. Missions outside the village have become extremely popular among shinobi. Even the D rank was snapped up, from which the Jonins used to always turn up their noses. Anbu asked for intelligence. Preferably to the other side of the world. When she told me in the middle of the night that she wanted ramen, I got up, got dressed and went to wake up Chef Tucci. When I reported back pain, I called the best doctors. But when Kyubi no Yoko got out of it and said he wanted cinnamon rolls, and certainly from Suna, there is a wonderful shop near the main gate. Be sure to be hot, my patience has come to an end. We yelled at each other all evening, but everything was solved by transparent droplets of tears in the eyes of the beloved woman. I had to climb on the back of the nine-tailed monster and drive into the sand. The expression on the faces of the inhabitants of Suna, awakened in the middle of the night by the evil growl of a demon demanding pastries, had to be captured for posterity. Gaara, who was in the same position with me, only sighed bitterly and personally escorted me to the store. The birth took me by surprise. Neither Sakura, nor Tsunade, nor Naruto herself could repel the stupid desire to be present during the process itself. Rushing around the ward, unnerving the doctors and the woman in labor herself, I was in extreme proximity to a state called panic. In theory, of course, I suspected that all this was not very rosy, but the reality turned out to be stronger than me. The screams were driving me crazy, and I made meaningless promises, twitched and rushed to help, which made me even more in the way. I will never say it out loud, but I am very grateful to Kurama, who knocked me out with a precise blow to the head with his tail at the very beginning. 7 hours later, my son was born. The firstborn. The heir of my clan, the heir of his mother's steely will. Heir to the will of fire. Naruto is 22 years old when she is rocking her baby in her arms. Admiring his black eyes, she thinks that she has done everything right in her life. She has nothing to regret. The beginning of a new generation, a pleasant world. That's the end of it.